Okay, a service not many people know about. Often people want a tenant to be found for their property, but they would not like an agency to manage it for them. That is available by most agencies. It's called a casual letting, and we're going to talk about it right now.
Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Billy Drury.
How are we on this fine day in Sydney?
It's blue skies, hey? It is blue skies. A bit chilly though. 17 degrees and blue skies in Sydney, kids.
It's come down a little bit over the weekend, but we're both feeling rested, both ready for a big week.
Ready to rock and roll. Ready to rock and roll.
Take that time on the weekend. Just have a bit of chill time. You know what I watched? I watched the new James Bond. First time at a cinema in probably like a year. Maybe longer.
It's back. Cinemas are back. That was a good one?
Yeah, I went up to Chatswood, and it's you get like the recliner chairs. It's different experience up there. It was really good. Good movie if you haven't watched it.
All these movie things are getting fancier and fancier. So, buddy, this morning, we're going to get into helping people because often people would like the agent to find a tenant, but would like to manage it themselves. Maybe a stay-at-home dad or a stay-at-home mum, they've got a bit of time and they think, what do we need to pay an agent for? I'll look after it. We do that as an agency, yeah? Do you want to go tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, casual letting is the phrase that we use. It is the process of purely finding people a tenant, and then almost at the end of the deal, you pass them over the file, and they effectively become property managers. But it has its dangers. It has its dangers, Mark. It does have its dangers.
Tell us.
Casual letting, like you say, not everyone wants an agent involved. Maybe if you've got a little bit more time, you can have a go at managing it yourself. You think in hindsight, I'm just going to find a lovely tenant and they'll move in and they'll pay me rent and it will be cash and it will be all nice. But we're talking about your most valuable asset here, and most times I'm sure that'll be the case. It does go right, but the times it doesn't go right and it becomes messy, it's tricky to navigate for someone that doesn't have any experience in managing not only tenants but legislation as well.
Okay, so let's talk about the clear benefits. Then we'll talk about the clear downfalls. Then we'll talk about the cost. It's quite inexpensive to have an agent find a tenant-only service for you. So the benefits are you save the money. That's why a lot of people do it. You save the money. So a management fee typically in Sydney is between 5 and 7%. If your rental's $500, you're saving $25, $35 a week, right? That's one benefit for a casual management. The other benefit is it's professionally done. So the agent has a pool of tenants ready to go. You can pick the most powerful agent in the suburb, and they've got a wonderful amount of tenants for the property. It's easy. The benefits are also that the right paperwork is going to be put in place. So often just completing a residential lease, if it is done incorrectly and it is tested in a tribunal situation, you will lose if you haven't done that lease properly. So the benefit of find a one-off tenant for you is they're going to put the correct document in place.
Yeah, I think the lease one is big, huge, because that can help with so many issues down the line. Another big advantage is having access. Your agent that you've employed to find the tenant has access to these big portals. Like anyone can put their property on realestate.com. However, we've negotiated a huge discount for all our landlords, permanent landlords, that they receive a huge discount when advertising through Novak Properties on realestate.com. So effectively, you're actually going to save close to, the sum that you'd be copying to spend out on employing this agent to find the tenant in the first place, if you were just going to go and put it on realestate.com yourself. So that's a big one. We're using the exact same portals to go and show your property, but the branding and the behind the scenes is what you don't notice.
Yep. And you know what? With marketing, I believe the better you wrap a product, the higher price you'll get for it. So with marketing, when you're doing a casual letting and marketing the property properly, proper photo shoot, proper description, proper open homes, and showing proper representations, I think that standard is going to get you more rent. I know it will. So I think agents have the tricks to the trade because of the volume that they do, that they will get you a better price for your rental rather than you.
Yeah, definitely. We use, some pretty wide forms of marketing. Like, we use a lot of different types of marketing. Mark, tell us, for people that don't know, is professional photography included in casual casual letting, because it is included in a normal management at Novak?
It is. So I think it depends on agency to agency, but I think, look, the standard of iPhones and phones these days is super high. But for a pro photographer to go in, what they extract out of the property to make it look unbelievable is worth it. Even with the higher standards of phones or cameras, but these guys are just built to shoot well. So you are getting that on with us. You do get that as part of our service.
Yeah.
Lisa Novak says, this is the best example I've heard about rentals, is who would you trust with your bag of cash? If you had 500,000 cash and you had $1 million, or you had $1 million cash, would you just trust anyone with that? That's what a property is. It is an asset of 500,000 or $1 million, and you want to make sure that who's the custodian, who's looking after that cash, is going to do an incredible job. So make the investment in an agent to get your property rented, and it's all great until it's not. So we'll get into this in a sec, because I think we've finished some of the major positives today, and then let's get into the negatives of it shortly. Any other positives?
I can flip this positive into a negative if not done properly. So this, that's the first one. I think people would feel a little bit awkward asking some of the questions an agent asks every day for a tenant that's moving in. When we have a tenant move in, we're asking some pretty direct questions, asking exactly what is your financial situation. We need to see some proof of, some documents. And I think for someone that's not done it before, Mark, that might be a little bit intimidating or feel a little bit rude.
Yeah.
So you're meeting someone, let's say you didn't employ an agent to even find you a tenant, and you're just running it off some free portals, or maybe you've paid for realestate.com or got it on Facebook Marketplace, and you have a couple of people coming through. How do you navigate the conversation of, do you like the property, to now I need to see your bank statements, I need a copy of your ID, pay slips if you're working, is it just you, is there family in the property? I think that might be a little bit awkward for most people.
So I think that's great. That's really another positive for sure that you brought up, because often if it's your home, people will not bring up the negatives of your home. If they're not bringing up the negatives of your home, you can't counter those negatives. So I'll give you an idea. Someone may think, look, I don't really like this place because of the stairs. And then the owner they don't actually say anything to the owner or the landlord. They'll say, yeah, look, sorry, thanks. But with an agent, they'll be straight up and they'll say, look, don't like it, stairs suck, natural light sucks. Agent can counter that and say, by the way, there is, a reverse, there's a laneway at the back which has no stairs. So I think when you're renting the property out yourself as a landlord, you often will not get the true B feedback that you need from people because they're just gun shy because they know it's your place, but an agent will. So I think it's a good point that you brought up.
Yeah, that's important. We've talked a little bit about, it's got to be a bit of a formal process. I think having someone that takes this process very seriously, as an agency, that's our business. This is what we do for our living. It comes across as a different sort of experience when you have got a person in the middle or a person representing the owner. So I think, without saying anything at all, having a guy or a girl in a suit turn up versus the owner who's just come home from work, got dinner cooking in the property, and is going to move out in a month's time. That's a very different experience right from the start, before you've even said hello, of what the management, whether it be the owner that looks after it or agent, is going to be like for the duration of the lease.
Big time. Let's talk about the negatives. We probably might revel in this a little bit more because we love people to manage. We love to manage property, and we love to look after that whole process. The negatives of a letting, of a casual letting, what are they? Because I think there are. Having an agent managing the property. We've done some one hell of a cleanup for people that actually self-manage, that choose us for a leasing only service. And to be clear on that, we've got agents. What we're talking about today is we've got landlords that come to us year in, year out, every 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, 6 months, and always ask us to replace their tenants. So they manage it themselves. That's what we're talking about today. And we just find the tenant for them. So we can do that service. By the way, the cost is 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks letting fee for us to find a tenant only, and it's 1 week letting if we're managing it for you. Can we talk about some of the negatives today, Billy?
The negatives of employing an agent.
The negatives of of having us doing a letting only service for an owner.
We talked a little bit about having the file thrown at you at the end of the process. That can almost be a little bit overwhelming. So what's now happened is we've secured you a tenant. You're happy with the person moving in.
Yep.
You've got a great lease in place, which means legally binding on all for all parties, which is great. But now you're a property manager. You've got to find the time out of your day to do some of the paperwork before they move in. You've got to arrange the keys. You've got to have tradespeople on hand. You're now responsible for looking after everything. So that in itself is time consuming. A lot of our work and making sure the whole tenancy is set up properly is done 80%, I would say, before they move in. It's only 20% of our work happens once they've moved in. After they've moved in, sorry. So all your repairs should be done. All your paperwork should be lined up. Keys are ready. Everything's there. Bonds paid. That's all done before they move in. So once they're in, it should be, just an ongoing process of, ongoing maintenance as a wear and tear, and that's sort of it.
Yeah, I think Luke Moroney's brought up a good one, being at arm's length. Guys and girls, when you buy anything, you probably don't realise this. When you buy anything significant in this world, you will generally find a middleman is always introduced into your negotiation, often without you even knowing. When you go, and allow me to give you an example, when you go and buy a car, you'll walk into the car dealer, make an offer for the car, and what does the car dealer say?
He wouldn't just give you a yes or no answer.
You what?
He probably wouldn't give you a yes or no answer. He's going to say,
nah,
let me go talk to my manager.
Every single time, guaranteed. So a middleman in a negotiation is absolutely critical. And with a casual tenant-only service, a leasing-only service that we're doing for you, you are eroding that benefit for you. And that often can lead to a vulnerable position that you're in later on, when you have the tenant, because there is no middleman that you can use or refer to. So often the tenant will come to you and say, look, I'm just about to have a third baby. Bob's just having a hard time with his job at the moment, and an owner will reduce the rent. And the owner is standing often in the front yard of the property, doesn't even know what to say. Or Johnny on the spot makes a bad decision. But as an agent, when you're professional, and when you've been around the block so many times with that same scenario, you become better seasoned and better equipped to answer those sort of questions. So I think having a middleman, or being arm's length, as Lou Moran is referred to, I think it is so important. Yes, we do a casual letting. Yes, we'll do a find a tenant only service for you, but you can really make a big mistake by managing it yourself. We are doing a lot of cleanups, and I've got to tell you, where I was going, Billy, was we've got people that have come to us year on year out for 5 years, 7 years, 3 years. They always end up saying, look, can you just manage this tenant for us? It's just easier. They make the mistake.
Yeah, it's not a coincidence. Real estate agents are here
for your $500,000 asset or your $1 million asset.
Just like any other profession, they wouldn't be employed if there was not a reason for it.
Yep.
No one wants to waste money. No one wastes money.
No, but you know what? People, on face value, it's hard to see the value, because you don't really understand it. I've got a close family friend of mine that's been doing some Airbnb lately, and the amount and the concept was great, because on face value, it was like, shit, that's big money. The reality of the labor they've spent on it, the time they've spent on it, the money they've spent on it, buying utensils, just doing all that stuff, the reality was really different. So I think the casual letting's the same thing. On face value, it's like, yeah, great, just get the agent to do that for me and I'll look after it. But I think in the end, when you look at everything that goes into it, it's like, I'll just get an agent to do it for us.
Yeah, that's it. I think, yeah, the biggest part about today is making sure it's all formally done, because that really does set the benchmark for the duration of the tenancy.
Something that I've missed, we've missed the ingoing inspection and the bond lodgement. The nice thing about us doing a casual management for you, or management, but a casual, is that process is handled diplomatically and properly. We have been in and out of tribunal hundreds of times over the course of 20 years as an agency. We know what the tribunal member looks for in the event of a dispute. So I think it's really, really important that ingoing inspection is done absolutely accurately and with experience, because in the event of the tenant moving out and you have to rely on that ingoing, you will lose your tribunal case because it hasn't been done properly. So the great thing with a casual management is that we will do that ingoing inspection immaculately for you.
Yeah, you've got to think of the end game on some of these what's the word I'm looking for? Decisions you make.
Big time. Fail safe. But mate, that's it. We're over time.
Thanks for joining us this morning. Have a good day. Big week ahead.
Thanks, everyone. Hopefully it helped you. Cheers. Bye-bye.